Now, welcome to Manda-lore Wednesday, which means we're going to talk some Mandalorian lore. And fear not, there will be no spoilers in this video for the newest episode of The Mandalorian, because we haven't seen it yet.
Yep, we're recording this a day early, so we can't ruin it for you.
Yes. So if anything in here happens to coincide with something that happens in tomorrow's episode, I mean tomorrow for us and today for you, apologies, I guess. But no, we're going to be talking about
The Darksaber. Bum bum bum. I'm going to start with the reason it was originally conceived. In Star Wars The Clone Wars, Pre-Visla needed a weapon, and it had been originally intended that Pre-Visla was going to fight using a vibroblade in the Clone Wars animated show, but George Lucas was against that idea that a non-lightsaber can block a lightsaber and came up with an archaic, one-of-a-kind, black-bladed lightsaber called the Darksaber. I mean, later we do see Magna Guards and Purge Troopers block lightsabers with other weapons,
electro stabs and stuff.
George Lucas at the time said, nah, he didn't like that idea, let's give him something really cool.
I love the idea of Beskar being able to
Block a
withstand
lightsaber.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense considering the history there.
But now onto the actual factual canon history of the saber in universe. It's also got a Beskar hilt that even Mando in the show has commented that the Beskar is of a quality he's never seen before, because it's old.
They had better Beskar back in the day?
Supposedly. The Darksaber attempts to connect with its wielder on kind of like a subconscious level. It's very interesting, the crystal is.
I am one with the Darksaber, and the Darksaber is one with me.
Yes. The blade feeling proportionally heavier or lighter depending on the wielder resisting or embracing the connection. It was respected by Mandalorians as a symbol for the leader of Manda-lore. According to Mandalorian custom, one could only obtain the Darksaber by defeating the previous owner in combat. Should they have claimed it any other way, the claim is considered illegitimate. The Children of the Watch, the group Din belongs to, believed the Darksaber carried a terrible curse that would lead to destruction of Mandalore and its people if it was acquired outside of combat. Now, that may not have been wrong, but let's start at the beginning. It was created over 1,000 years ago by Visla, the first Mandalorian ever inducted into the Jedi Order. After his passing, the Jedi kept the saber in their temple. That was until members of House Visla snuck in and liberated it. Or stole it. They used the saber to unify the people and strike down those who would oppose them. One time they ruled all of Mandalore wielding this blade. By the time of the Clone Wars, the Darksaber was then held by Pre-Visla, who was the governor of Concordia, leader of Death Watch. He was a descendant of Visla. He's even fought General Kenobi with such a saber, wielding it with great skill.
He fought a Jedi quite well.
Yeah. Later, moving forward, at a new camp for the Death Watch bad guys, because they were kind of bad guys.
From a certain point of view.
Not from theirs, but from the Mandalorians, yeah. Death Watch found Maul and his brother Savage oppressed, and Visla agreed to an alliance between Death Watch and Maul's Shadow Collective, kind of in exchange for Mandalore.
Yeah.
The Shadow Collective did some fake attacks against the capital, where Visla and his Death Watch troopers stepped in to, quote-unquote, protect the people against the Shadow Collective's forces. This play was intended to overthrow Duchess Satine's pacifist government. The plan worked. Visla and Death Watch were hailed as heroes in the eyes of the Mandalorian people. Of course, him wielding the Darksaber and showing it all to them helped cement him as the proper ruler of Mandalore. Visla then decided it was a great idea to betray Maul and oppress and put them in jail, which of course they escaped. And Maul challenged Visla for leadership of Death Watch, one-on-one combat. Visla, of course, used the lightsaber against Maul, and despite putting up a very impressive fight, doing his best, he was disarmed, defeated, and then executed by Maul with the Darksaber.
Yeah, beheaded.
Which now, Maul was in charge of the Darksaber, but poor Bo-Katan Kryze, the Duchess's sister, was there to watch him fall. Maul claimed the Darksaber, the leadership of Death Watch, the leadership of Mandalore, but Bo-Katan refused to follow a leader who was not Mandalorian, despite him winning the blade fairly in combat.
He did follow the rules.
He did.
But was he Mandalorian? Do you have to be Mandalorian to challenge for the rules?
Well, he wasn't wearing a helmet, so he's Mandalorian no more. Of course not.
He's got horns. It'd be uncomfortable.
Maul used the Darksaber later to kill Duchess Satine in front of Kenobi. It's part of its bloody history, because he wanted revenge against that his friend Kenobi.
The guy who cut him in half?
Yeah.
You know.
Then he cut his girlfriend down. His not girlfriend.
No, not girlfriend.
Yep, but then Maul and Oppress were confronted by Maul's former master, Darth Sidious, who came to eliminate him before he could grow more powerful with the forces of Mandalore on his side as well as the Shadow Collective.
Yeah, kind of schooled them.
Yeah, they were no match.
No, not even close.
He killed Savage Opress, and then when Maul drew the Darksaber and wielded it in tandem with his red blade against Sidious, he still lost. 2 swords, he still lost. Sidious tossed aside the Darksaber as he subdued Maul with Force Lightning. Prime Minister Almec and the Mandalorian Super Commandos recovered the Darksaber following Maul's capture by Sidious. Gar Saxon and Rook Kast freed Maul from prison, giving him back his Darksaber, and he used it as a weapon against Grievous's forces and Magna Guards when they came to attack their new base. And threatened to kill Dooku with the Darksaber as a means of revenge against Sidious.
I'll kill you all.
Yeah. After pretty much a full retreat because he lost like all of the Shadow Collective to the forces of Darth Sidious.
Go figure.
Yeah. He returned to Dathomir to help Mother Talzin regain her physical form, but Sidious and Grievous showed up. Talzin possessed Dooku's body, fought Sidious and Grievous. Maul tried to use the Darksaber in battle until he and Talzin were overwhelmed. He fled the battle, and Talzin sacrificed herself for his survival.
For her son.
Yes, she did. Then we move into the age of the Empire in the show Star Wars Rebels. The Darksaber was still on Dathomir. During the reign of the Galactic Empire, it was kept there by Maul in a Night Sister lair. Sabine Wren ended up getting possessed by the spirit of a Night Sister in that lair. She ended up using the saber, wielding it against Ezra. He saves her, and she picks up the Darksaber on their way out.
What do you think Maul was doing with the Darksaber all that time? We see him briefly in Solo, and he has a red-bladed saber.
Yes. Did he just, leave it there on the planet? Did he never take it off with him? I mean, he was there with Mother Talzin.
Yeah.
And then you come back, and he's got it there. Did he perhaps come back at another point and build a little shrine to honor his mother?
Could be.
And the sisters. When they returned to their base, Sabine gave the lightsaber to Kanan to safekeep because she was hesitant to use it herself, because she knows what it means. Later, Kanan showed the saber to Fen Rao, suspecting that Mandalorian protector knew something about it, because Sabine refused to speak about the weapon. Rao told her the legend of the saber's creation, how it was used to unite House Visla and eventually all of Manda-lore. Then the pair managed to convince Sabine she should learn how to use the saber to unite Clan Ren and form an alliance with the rebellion. So she kind of caved and was like, okay, I guess I can do that, but I have a bad relationship with my family and stuff.
I also made a weapon that was really bad.
Called the Duchess.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Ezra teaches Sabine the basic lightsaber forms, using wooden sticks, and then after several days, Kanan allows her to wield the Darksaber. Sabine says that the Darksaber feels heavy in kind of an indirect way. First, she says it's heavier than expected. Then after she's using it for a while, Kanan asks her how it feels. She says, it's lighter, to which Kanan replies that means she's connecting with the blade. During these dueling sessions, Kanan was able to convince Sabine to talk about why she left Mandalore. She revealed she left to fight the Empire to save her planet. She was responsible for the weapons the Empire used to enslave her people. And in doing this, Sabine was able to process her emotion, which allowed her to decide that she was worthy of wielding it. Following all this, the group traveled with the Darksaber to Clan Ren's domain. Her mother, Ursa, was shocked to see her daughter with the Darksaber and disputed Sabine's claim to the weapon since she had not wrested it from Maul in single combat. She just picked it up.
Yeah.
Later, Ursa tried to trade the Darksaber along with Kanan and Ezra to Viceroy Gar Saxon, the puppet ruler of Mandalore, in exchange for Sabine's safety. Saxon has no intention of keeping his word, ignited the Darksaber as a signal to his men to massacre Clan Ren. Saxon tried to murder Ursa with the Darksaber, but Sabine, wielding Ezra's lightsaber, intercepted the blow, and the two of them engaged in a fierce duel. Sabine used her newfound skills to wound him and recover the Darksaber, holding both the black and green blades to his throat, demanding he yield. After Ursa killed Saxon, Sabine became the rightful new owner of the Darksaber, having earned it in combat.
Very true.
So, she did earn it properly.
Earn it. Yeah.
Eventually, Sabine led a mission to Mandalore to rescue her father from Imperial custody. During this time, she met Bo-Katan and offered her the sword, but Bo-Katan turned it down. She felt she was unworthy, that she'd already had her chance to rule. Later, Sabine and Bo-Katan led a raid on the then Mandalorian governor, Tiber Saxon's Star Destroyer, in order to destroy the Duchess, the superweapon Sabine had built during her days as an Imperial cadet. After the raid, Sabine finally convinced Bo-Katan to accept the weapon by showing her that the other clans were willing to follow her and stating that the Force had brought the saber to her so she could, in turn, pass it on to Bo-Katan. Bo accepted the sword in memory of her sister Satine and for the honor of her clan and for Mandalore itself.
And then it all goes downhill.
Yeah, after claiming the Darksaber, and this is where we start getting a little gray, Bo-Katan eventually loses the weapon sometime after the Great Purge. When they have to leave Mandalore, we don't have any idea how she lost it.
Well, we know...
Somehow she lost it, and then an A9 ABY Moff Gideon, who participated in the Purge, has it. But that's our gray zone right there. We don't know what happened.
I think we assume Gideon took it from Bo-Katan,
I don't know.
Or no?
We have no idea. We know that she knows that he has it, but we don't know if he took it from her or something else, because he never tried to rule or claim the rulership of Mandalore with it.
Not that there's much to rule, yeah.
She lost it, he turned up with it.
Yeah.
That's where it gets gray, because he never rubbed it in her face when he had the chance that, I took it from you, or I beat... No, he just had it.
Yeah, and Bo-Katan never really references any kind of conflict directly with Gideon, where she lost it, so... Seems like he took it somehow.
Yeah, because we saw Moff Gideon showing it off, and Grogu's holding the saber over the defenseless little youngling. Djarin dueled him.
He dueled him with the Beskar spear.
Yes, with the Beskar spear. He defeated him, disarmed him, picked up the saber, which is apparently what you shouldn't do. You should just leave it on the ground.
Should have left it there.
He brought the captured Moff to the bridge, tried to give the weapon to Bo-Katan. She refused. Gideon laughed at Din's ignorance. Bo explained she had to win it in battle. He attempted to yield, trying to make good on his promise and avoid trouble, but Bo stared at him coldly and refused. We don't know exactly what transpired after Luke and Grogu left. I'm curious if there was more of this conversation. I felt like that was a wasted opportunity. I want to know what happened.
Love to be a fly on the wall right there to see how that went down, yeah.
Then, with his lack of training, eventually when Din's out on a mission, he slashed his own thigh with the Darksaber pretty good. Then he located the armor in his past covert, where the armor explained Bo's failure to follow Mandalorian traditions, and Mandalore's downfall is under her rule and kind of her responsibility. She said, "It is said 1 warrior will defeat 20, and the multitudes will fall before it. If, however, it's not won in combat, and falls into the hands of the undeserving, it will be a curse unto the nation. Mandalore will be laid to waste, and its people scattered to the 4 winds."
And that's what happened.
Yeah. She trained Din using it. She told him, because he was originally was heavy for him, he was fighting against the Darksaber rather than his opponent, making the weapon seem heavier in nature when he swung it. He was even challenged by Paz Visla, because he viewed the weapon more as rightfully his birthright. He is a descendant in the clan of Visla. He lost, and Din is out and about with the lightsaber.
Doing who knows what. We'll soon find out, won't we?
We will, hopefully. I'd love to see what goes on.
Oh, I'm looking forward to learning more about just what happens with the Darksaber this season. Who ultimately wields it? Is it Din? Is it Bo-Katan? Is it another?
Does Gideon come and take it back?
Gideon? Sabine Wren? Ruler of Mandalore? Who knows what's going to happen to it? All right, well, that is all we got for you this time. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip down Mandalore Lane.
Boy.
I don't even know where I was going with that. But no, I hope you enjoyed this little recap of the story of the Darksaber, and hopefully, again, we will see what happens to it this season in The Mandalorian. Either way, do take to the comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.